Now, fresh off of that news, a quiet but powerful protest has emerged in the southern Israeli community of Kfar Ashim, just steps away from the Defense Ministry's residence. Former Hamas hostages and the families of those still in captive gathered for a Shabbat reception. Their message, bring them home now. The gathering mixed tradition and protest, candles lit, prayers recited, and we heard from Noah Perry, daughter of Chaim Perry, who died in Hamas captivity.
You can stop this. Even now, after this decision, stop this. We know this decision is going to cause a lot of unwanted death of more soldiers and hostages. Take this down. Stop it now. Bring all hostages back in one deal. Stop the war now.
Joining us now is Ofer Bronchtein, political advisor and president of the International Forum for Peace. Ofer, thank you so much for joining us. We're hearing from hostage families there as we speak. Massive anger and pushback at Benjamin Netanyahu's plan and indeed the security cabinet's plan. Does he even listen to the hostage families anymore?
Not only he doesn't listen to the hostage family, he doesn't listen to the army, doesn't listen to the majority of the Israeli. The last polls are saying that 80% of the Israeli population wants the end of the war and the release of the hostages. Last week, 660 generals, head of Mossad, head of the internal intelligence, generals, former head of the army, signed a letter asking for the war to end. This war has no sense whatsoever anymore. Nobody understands the purpose of it. Even the chief of staff yesterday, Mr. Zamir, said that if they will implement the decision of the cabinet of yesterday, that means that it's a death sentence of the hostages. It's no doubt that if Israel will implement this decision, then the hostages will be killed. So what is the purpose of this war? If it's to bring back the hostages, it's not the right way. If it's to eliminate the Hamas, it's not the right way. But I wanted to ask you, is the journalist Sharuk from Gaza is still online?
Unfortunately, she is not. If you have a question, though, we can definitely take it to her later.
Yeah. I would have loved to ask her a question. What I mean is the Israeli people, the parents of the family of the hostages, and even in the army today, they don't think that this operation will be as any reason. It's has no sense, no reason, no purpose. It's against the will of the people. It's against the will of the army. It's against the will of the hostages of the parents. The purpose, if I understand it properly, can be two. Either to put pressure on the Hamas, to tell them, listen, we're going to do it, and it's going to be very harmful to the Palestinian people, and for the Hamas to come back to the table of negotiation and to get to a ceasefire, to the end of the war, and to release the hostages and the body that are still holding. Or it's for internal political reason, which means that Mr. Netanyahu is hostage of a small, extremist, messianic, right-wing member of his coalition. And in this case, it's going to be a catastrophe for Israel. Israel is already very isolated in the world.
Let me ask, Ofer, if you will. You're referring to Itamar Ben-Gvir. You're talking about Smotrich as well, the finance minister. I mean, and there was reports of a shouting match in that security cabinet meeting between Eyal Zamir, the IDF chief, and the government. How can you possibly lead an Israeli army occupation and control of Gaza City under these conditions? Surely we could be looking at some sort of disobedience coming up.
It's a very good question. I never heard of, in the middle of the war, the cabinet meeting as the chief of staff publicly saying that this is not the right way to go, saying that it's going to put hostages it's going to be a death sentence against the hostages, that if he will have to go into it, it won't be for the release of the hostages. So what we are foreseeing lately in the army, it's first of all, as I told you, 660 very high level security responsible in Israel signed this letter. We see, sadly enough, dozen and dozen of soldiers committing suicide. The reserve soldier in Israel don't go back to Gaza anymore. The numbers are still being kept quiet, not to create the demoralization of the army. And more soldiers prefer to not to go to jail than to go to Gaza. And beside of that, if this plan will try to implement it, that means that they will need much more soldiers on the ground than they have today. So I don't know from where this soldier will come, but beside of that, if they are staying, they won't be only keep being a soldier. They will have to give services as an occupied body to 2 million Palestinians, which means food, water, health. I don't see after 2 years of war, which is the longest one that Israel ever faced, how the army will be able to do it. And you are right. I do believe that we are going to see more and more in the army, in the Israeli society, people who are going to say, we are not doing it. We don't understand why you have to do it. We don't understand the purpose of it. We are against it. We want the release of the hostages, but we don't want to do it this way. It has to be done through negotiation. But my concern, listen, I was going to say happy to see a lot of Israelis demonstrating today against this war. But I would like to see the Palestinian side. I heard Shiruk with a lot of attention. I'm in contact with my Palestinian friends in Gaza. They have to understand, if the Hamas release the hostages, it will be over. Even if the Israeli government has another agenda, it won't have any more excuses to go on. So the pressure has to be put on the Hamas as well. They have to give up weapons. They have to stop shooting at soldiers. It has no purpose. When they shoot at a soldier and they kill one soldier, the day after it's 1,000 Palestinians who are dying. So I understand that whatever the Israeli army is doing, it's wrong. Whatever the Israeli government is deciding, it's wrong. But whatever the Hamas is doing it against his own people. Each time that we shoot at a soldier, it will be a lot of casualties on the Palestinian side. And why not to release the hostages?
It is a valid question to pose, Ofer. That is certainly on the ground, and of course you understand the very delicate nature of responding to that in the Gaza Strip. We would obviously love to get that answer. Can I just ask something in terms of the international reaction? You are yourself the Middle East envoy for France, and under Emmanuel Macron, France has made it very clear that it does not support this. It wants a ceasefire immediately. Do you believe that this decision is going to speed up the decision of traditional Israeli allies for a two-state solution and to recognize the Palestinian state?
I hope so, and not as a response to the Israeli policy, but as the only way we understand now that whenever the war will end, the Israelis and the Palestinians won't be capable of going back into negotiation. So that means that at this point in time in history, outside help is needed. And the direction that France took, and 12 other countries already are going to follow us, and we believe that more will do the same by September to recognize the Palestinian state. And then it's a change of paradigm. So far, for the last 30 years, we were told the Israelis and the Palestinians will negotiate, and then at the end of the negotiation, it will be the creation of a Palestinian state. It did not work. Palestinians and Israel are not negotiating for over 20 years. So what we are proposing is, let's recognize a Palestinian state. The Israelis and the Palestinians later on will go into the details, the future of Jerusalem, the refugees, the borders, security, economical relationship. But they will have to do it as equal. I strongly believe that if a Palestinian state existed on before the 7th of October, the 7th of October would have not happened. We see it on the West Bank. The Palestinian Authority less demonstration against Israel in Ramallah than in Paris, New York, or Berlin. The Palestinian Authority, as weak as they are doing their best not to have any violent activity in the West Bank. They are doing their best to.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry to cut you short. We will have to move on to other matters. But Ofer Bronchtein, a political advisor and president of the International Forum for Peace, just joining us there, talking about that international reaction as he left off. Germany has added its voice. It's announced that it will be halting all arms exports to Israel that could be used in Gaza, citing the humanitarian toll of the war. The Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu voicing his disappointment directly to Chancellor Friedrich Merz in a phone call this Friday, saying Israel's goal is not to take over Gaza permanently, but to free it from Hamas and allow a peaceful government to take its place. That announcement also met with skepticism. Meanwhile, US Vice President J.D. Vance and UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy have also been meeting near London this Friday amidst the growing tensions on the UK's plan to recognize the Palestinian state. Vance said, "I wasn't sure what such recognition would even mean, given the lack of a functional government there." And when asked about Israel's intent to occupy Gaza City, he replied, "I wouldn't go into such conversations." Vance adding, "If it was easy to bring peace to that region of the world, it would have been done already."